and we are comprised highly qualified, research oriented with the teaching staff. Fine. And our department is well equipped with the various labs and the state of the art. Our department is the information science and the computer science, information science and engineering department has been accredited by NBA, and we have got the A grade certification with the NAC also. We all gathered here today to attend this particular workshop based to enhance the research and innovation skills, right? We as a research, this particular workshop, we have basically aimed to achieve the greater heights, and actually we have 192 participants who have registered and approved. With respect to the ATAL, it is 200 is the maximum, so we have reached the 192 over here. And this particular workshop is basically intended to resolve the particular hurdles which the research scholars and others may face during their research or the pre-research or the post-research of their work. So in that particular direction, we have thought of initiating this particular workshop so that it is going to benefit to various research scholars. And also the persons who have completed their research, they wanted to get into the fundings or the patent, they may be having some problem. So we have set right in all those things. So I once again welcome all of you for this particular workshop. Now, I request Manjunath sir to introduce our chief guest, YVK Ravikumar sir, and then the Ravikumar sir will start up his session.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to introduce the speaker for the session, Dr. YVK Ravikumar. So, sir has completed his BSc from SV University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh in the year 1991. MSc in Applied Mathematics from SV University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh in the year 1993. PhD from Osmania University, Hyderabad in the 2009 and qualified in CSIR JRF NET examination. Sir has professional experience with 25 years of teaching experience on 1 year as Group 1 officer. Sir has served in various colleges as lecturer, assistant professor, Group 1 officer, associate professor in Stanley College of Engineering, BITS Pilani, Bose Reddy Engineering College, SSJ Engineering College, MVSR Engineering College, and currently sir is associated with BITS Pilani, Hyderabad as an associate professor. Sir has guided 2 PhD students, and sir is currently guiding 2 PhD students. Sir has publications about 50, and he has taught the various courses like probability and statistics, advanced statistical technology for analysis, machine learning, mathematical foundation for data science, data structures and algorithms, design and analysis of algorithm. So sir has very good backup and experience with respect to the research, and sir has created a lot of interest among his students. So he is a guiding force for various research activities at the BITS Pilani. Sir, a warm welcome to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I thank the leadership, management, leadership, and the department headed by Professor Kala. I think I can start now, sir.
Yeah, sure, sir. You can start.
Yeah, because there is an echo.
Yeah, it was someone has unmuted. Sir.
Yeah. Just a minute. So, good morning all. Thank you for joining. I thank the management, the leadership, and the department and the faculty colleagues at B&M Institute of Technology, Bangalore for giving this opportunity to share some of the thoughts that I had as a student earlier and as a supervisor related to research. So I will try to share some of my experiences and opinions that what I had as a teacher, as a scholar, as a student when I was in MSc. Here, maybe this may give some motivation or gives the need or importance of having research as a part of our teaching activities. So here, before starting, I'll share my experience, the misinterpretation or misconception which I had when I was in my post-graduation. Even though I had GRF, but I took a decision saying that, so I don't want to do research at all in my life. Like that is after observing the people, the scholars, faculties in the department, the struggles they had. And I had an opinion that, so why these people are wasting 4 to 5 years of precious time, that too between 23 to 28, 29. After observing the people, their struggles, then I had a misconception at that time. I thought it was a good observation. Why these people are wasting their precious time here by doing research. Then after that, I took a decision not to go for any PhD or any research further, even though I had GRF with me. So that is a strong decision what I have taken. Then after joining the college as a faculty, then so slowly when I started progressing towards my teaching career, then the situation forced me to go for research, because as an academician, as a faculty, apart from the teaching that what we do, the feedback what we get, so the PhD is something which is, the degree is very much required to get into next level. So even at that point of time, so with some kind of forced kind of scenarios, I started my research journey. So then when I started working for my PhD, then I realized that, so I wasted all these years with a wrong notion just by observing the people. And I never interacted people to clear the doubts or the misconception that I had in terms of research. I felt very sad after starting my research. When I started research, then I am able to see the way that I deliver lectures, the way that I interact with students. There is a lot of difference. The perception is entirely changed. So then I took research as one of my passions. Right? So irrespective of whether it counts, whether it helps me to grow in my career. So I myself involved rigorously in teaching apart from my regular, in research apart from my regular teaching activities as well as administrative activities. So then I felt like I should have interacted with the people in my college days, at least during my post-graduation, to find why we need to go for a research, in what way it is going to help, whether we are going to join a college as a faculty, whether we are going to some other job. Right? Then finally, after completing my PhD, I understood PhD or research is not a degree. It is some kind of learning the process, changing the way that we think. Right? So now I had a strong belief. So with that belief, I started continuing my research as a supervisor. I guided 2 students for their PhDs, and 2 students they submitted, and I've been continuing my publications throughout, irrespective of whether it counts for my academic promotions. So with that personal experience, I thought of sharing some of the thoughts related to research, and what are the misconceptions, what are the questions that we have to question ourselves before getting into research. Okay. Just a minute. So today I'll try to cover some of the things mentioned here, so what is the meaning of research as per the definitions or as per the observations by the elders. The why we have to do research, as a part of research, what we have to do and how we have to do the research. And as a part of this research journey, so we have to start with a literature survey, some of the thoughts taken from the observations or my own experiences. So we'll have some discussion related to literature survey. Then the first step, the second step as a part of research journey is the problem statement. So what is the problem statement? How to formulate? How important that the statement is in our journey towards research. Okay. So this is the agenda that I plan to cover in today's session. Here, generally we go for session completely after that question and answers, but instead as a teacher, what I suggest is when the presentation is going on, when the talk is going on, whenever you are having any doubt, any point to add, any objections related to the content, so you can immediately raise the ticket, raise the doubt, then we can have a discussion instead of waiting till the completion of the talk. Right. So we'll start with the Albert Einstein's what he says. If we know what we are doing, and it won't be called as a research. Right? So is it right or wrong? That is what Albert Einstein, he stated in a context where he is talking about the research and its importance. So if we are aware of it, then if we are searching for it, so I think we cannot call it as a research. Suppose if we are preparing for our lecture, right? So we know the topic and we are going to add, we are searching for the books, we are trying to add some more information so that our lecturing can be a better way of doing the things. So in that case, I think it cannot be called as research as mentioned by Albert Einstein. So what is a research? So that name itself carries research. So the name itself carries research. So that is searching again, right? So it is searching means it is not like searching a Google for something like that. Because when this term started, when this term is introduced, there is nothing like Google where we can search for the information, right? So it is again and again searching for some information from various sources. So which is the meaning of the term research. So why we are searching what we are searching? So here definition is we are searching for a knowledge. Right? So knowledge means there should be some scientific systematic approach and we should have a clarity on for what we are searching for, right? The scientific and systematic search for information on a particular topic. This is one definition coined by the elders. So other definition, it is an art of scientific investigation, that is investigating for some topic to enhance the knowledge. And as per the dictionary, the research means is a careful investigation or inquiry through search where to find new facts, new inventions related to any branch of knowledge. The most famous quote people uses is the systemized effort, that is a scientific systematic effort to gain a new knowledge, new insights related to a particular area, particular topic is what is called as research. So here, what is the important thing is the zeal or the interest to enhance the knowledge, right, is the main, the basic or essential requirement when we want to move towards a research journey. some echoing.
Dear participants, please mute yourself. Don't unmute.
Thank you. So why now we'll try to address some of the doubts or queries we'll get when we start the journey towards research. So why to do the research, right? What is the purpose, right? So the purpose of research is to find out the answers for the various questions that arises by answering the questions where we go for a systematic or scientific approaches, right? So why we have to go for research is, so this should be a journey towards finding some answers that we encountered or the questions that arises are related to a certain topic, right? So it need not here research is not here what we are talking is not specific to certain areas. It can be arts related, science related, engineering related, medicine related, etc. Right? So here the another answer for the why is why research is, the main aim of research is to find the truth which is hidden and which has not discovered as yet. So something we observed, there is something fishy, right? Something fishy. There is some process involved in some knowledge behind that process, but which is not yet. We are not able to find what is happening in the process system kind of thing, right? So where we want to find, right? We want to discover what is happening, right? So in such cases, so the research is required, right? So research in the sense here, it is not like what we is a like kind of thought process. It is not like it's only restricted to doing PhD, getting publications, right? It is some kind of thought process where we'll try to find out answers or the patterns where they are not yet explored till now, right? And also the research helps us to get familiarity with the phenomena, or it helps us to get new insights into it. That is, so it helps us to get good observations or patterns, familiarity, some new aspects out of it. Right? That's why this is research is something not restricted to degrees or publications. It is some kind of thought process where by observing a system, by observing some data, we'll try to understand new insights, new phenomena, right? So if we want to have that kind of thought process, then it is where we can call it as we need to go for research. And if you take the arts related kind of scenarios where, so it is a thought process where we want to test a hypothesis to find out a causal relationship between the variables. Right? So you had data. So we had some assumptions. Maybe it is related to social aspects, right? It need not be scientific aspects. Some social aspects or social beliefs we had, right? Social observations we had, right? So that is what we call as a hypothesis, right? So till now we have been taking this hypothesis as some customs which is inherited from the society or the elders, right? Now, so if we had a scientific temper, if we are having scientific way of doing the things, then so we want to validate the beliefs or hypotheses that are there in the system as a part of social obligations or culture, as a part of our culture, right? So now we want to validate this hypothesis that are there in the system, that are there in the society, right? So then, so we use our scientific approach, our research oriented thought process to address or to validate the hypothesis, right? So we might have seen, right? So earlier the society need to have many hypotheses, which we had from the scriptures or some customs based on society or something, the knowledge what we gain from the elders. Right? Later, as a part of validations, many researchers try to validate or invalidate, try to prove or disprove that the hypothesis or belief what we have been believing or what we have been following is not correct, or sometimes they prove that it is correct. Right? So such kind of scenarios can be tested or validated. So then if you want to do this, then we have to go for the research oriented kind of thought process. Okay. Do you have any use cases related to these points what is mentioned here? General observations, hypotheses, or beliefs in the system, which are validated by social scientists over a period of time. So by doing research, right? So they have done extensive research to validate or prove or disprove the beliefs or hypotheses what we had in the society. So if you had any observations related to these points, you can share so that it is helpful for us, so that the session will be interactive kind of session instead of one-way delivery kind of. Any of colleagues, like, as per your observation, it need not be even though we are all the participants are having engineering background or some science background, but you might have observed some of the hypotheses in the society is proved or disproved by social scientists. Any point to be added from colleagues who joined the call? Okay. Based on your experience or observations. Okay. Okay. We'll maybe when we go further we can. So next is curiosity. Curiosity to find so what happens. So why it happens. Why it is not happening like this, right? So the curiosity to find the reasons or the phenomena behind any observation that we had, right? So if you want to address the queries that we are facing when we see some situations, some kind of scenarios, right, phenomena. So the curiosity, if you want to answer, then I think we need to think of a research kind of approach. Right? So this is already what we mentioned. So the desire to understand causal relationship. So mostly it comes with if you see social sciences related research. So where it is mostly will focus on finding or try to understand a causal relationship. Right? But most of us, even as I mentioned, I believed this at the beginning, right? So why we need to go for research, right? It is just to get a research degree. So by getting a research degree, I'll get the promotions. I'll go to the next level in my academic journeys. So, but here the fact nowadays is predominantly the research, the meaning of research, or the focus towards research is predominantly with respect to the point mentioned here. Right? So because that is the belief system what we had, it is something research means we have to register for a PhD from a university, right? So then we'll get a degree. Then what we'll get out of after getting this PhD? Right? If you see a good future after getting PhD, then people prefers to go for research. Right? So now this is actually predominantly this is the belief that is existing in these academics circles. So that is the reason now I think we might have seen the number of graduates, number of postgraduates coming out of premier institutes to our institutes. So they are not getting into the research area. because still they believe that research is something where we have to we are going to do research for PhD. We'll get the PhD out of after 5-6 years. We'll get PhD degree. After that, this is my career. So even though it is true, but now it is predominantly this point is dominating the research, the approach towards research because of this. So the young generation is not opting for research as a career also. So next, if you had the passionate towards doing something differently, right? Doing something differently, always you will be finding people who wants to do the things differently. So where that is, they had a desire to solve the difficult problems, unsolved problems. And some people, so they want to get into intellectual fraternity, intellectual group by doing the research, right? If then in all these cases, so then why research will answer the doubts or the queries what we get out of all these points. So is there any point that the colleagues that you are getting which we can be added under this point? Why research? Why we have to do research? Any point? I think we had even the colleagues already completed PhDs and even guided or guiding students. See, in your thought, because you are also experienced in this topic or in this concept, is there any point that we can add to the discussion? Why research? Yes, Professor. So any point that we can add to this question, like which answers why we need to go for research?
So am I audible?
Yes, yes, Professor.
So we can do research for increasing our understanding for some topic or particular topic. We can add it.
Yeah, perfectly. Yes, 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 madam. Thank you. So actually now, yes, madam. Yes, Professor. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Sir, we can do the research for problem solving or particularly to enlighten any field which can serve for the society. If the research can be served for the society, then that type of research will be very much beneficial.
Yes, Professor.
Like to explore new methods to do same thing in new ways.
Yeah, perfectly. So we can find even sometimes what happens there, I think I understood like enhancement of existing systems or doing the things in a different way. Yeah. Good. Yes, Professor. Yes, rightly pointed. Now, why so I stopped here. Now, here actually, even if you take an example like any student, any BTech student comes to us saying that I want to do research. So I think most of the times we discourage them or we are scared of the questions that the guys ask, right? I think even we won't allow our own kids to go for this research kind of approach, right? So simply we'll say like go do this course, get into this company and do this. So plan your career like this. Even we won't allow our kids, even we discourage our students to utter this word research. So now this is very important. Now here, at least if we take the revolutionary changes happened in the technologies front, and we need to add one point, like suppose I had a very I am very passionate towards doing something differently, and I am very much interested to solve unsolved problems. Right? So that is the way that I want to work with. Right? That is my way of doing the things. Right? If that kind of student comes to us saying that I want to do research, right? I want to plan my career towards research, then he will come with many queries. So what will be my life? What will be my career growth if I take this? I think to quote at this point, I hope most of us have gone through the news. The guy who got 100% in, I think, G examination. So one student who got 100% score, and he cleared many of Olympiads. Generally, we expect that the guy who got this 100% score definitely will do well in advance. Then he will go for IITs kind of thing. But the guy clearly mentioned that I'm not going to do engineering, even if I get NITs and IITs. What he mentioned is, I'll join ISI Calcutta or somewhere else if I get a seat. So I want to do something in mathematics. So I think if the guy declares, if the guy goes to any of the family members or the seniors or the teachers with this approach, I hope most of the people or the people in the society will try to discourage him, saying that what is that you are going to get out of research. Right? So instead, you are 100% student, you can go like this, then you can join like this, right? So here, if you see this that guy's case, so he is passionate towards mathematics. He want to get into research in mathematics. Right? Now, earlier days we have never had a discussion related to commercialization of the thought process. Right? Now, you can do research if you are able to solve some extraordinary problems. If you are able to come out with some new methods. Right? Now you can patent it. If possible, you can commercialize your thought process, right? So generally, we'll be thinking in terms of, now we had an approach, I'll do the research, I'll get the degree. And most organizations will stop doing the things here. So after getting the degree, then I'll mostly will get into industry, or mostly it is into academics, so joining a university, or very rarely people move towards industry based on the stream that they are from. So nowadays it became so popular where the thought process, what we are having by the research process, can be converted into patents where you can even commercialize the patents. Right? So if the society or the parents are looking towards only commercial aspects of what you are doing, still there is a chance for any application, right? So if this point, if we are able to quote many of the instances, many of our observations, so where people are able to have some patents and commercialization of patents, then this encourages at least the students with that kind of approach or passion toward doing something innovatively, creatively. I think as a faculty, so I think whenever we find a guys like this, I think we need to give some kind of guidance where we have to encourage them to go towards research, and then we have to tell them about the patents, commercialization of patents, right? So this is one way that is going to help society as well. Right. So now I think we'll proceed further with some of the ideas. Right? So why research? By doing research, you are able to answer, or if you are able to answer some of the queries, we are able to give solutions for some of the questions which are unsolved even today. or even you can challenge or validate the existing phenomena or the output of research done by peers. I think some nice. Right. So challenge or validate, I think I request colleagues to mute. So challenge or validate, if you take, so there are few case studies or instances. Now, undoubtedly, almost all accepted theory of relativity, right? Theory of relativity is undoubtedly accepted by the community, scientific community, right? So nobody is nobody questioned or questioning theory of relativity. Now you might have seen some research groups started questioning the validity of the theory of relativity. Now I think one group is working seriously, and I think they are at least they're able to achieve 40 to 50% success in the approach what they proposed. So that is what the you can challenge or you can validate. If you want to challenge or validate the existing thought process, then you have to get into that research kind of thought process. And suppose if simple example, suppose if we take engineering kind of scenarios, particularly if you take the security systems kind of thing, network security or cryptography, blockchain, etc., etc. If you take. Now, I think most of the colleagues are familiar in terms of these terms, right? Cryptography, network security, blockchain, etc., etc. Right? So here, this entire concept is based on the prime numbers, right? I hope. So prime numbers. So most of the thought process algorithms, what we have been using in security related applications, based on prime numbers, right? So prime numbers are, we treat them as some special VIP numbers or special numbers having different properties, right? So the entire the algorithms or thought process based on the privileges given to the number system, that is prime number system. Right? So now if I want to challenge it, so that I think one group, I think in India, one group is trying seriously where they are trying to prove that this is not a special system to consider. So prime numbers are not that so special, where they are on the way to prove it. Like this, if you have yes, any. Right? So prime numbers are not, now if you just imagine the scenario now, that is the existing system is, the entire system is based on the belief that prime number system, their properties, etc., etc. So now they are going to challenge this. Right? So then you see the consequences, right? So if we want to challenge or validate the existing system or prove or disprove the systems, then we have to get into the research kind of doing the things. And if you take the managerial kind of applications, it is a basis for taking wise decision particularly. And it enhances with the help of research approach, we can increase or we can enhance our professional knowledge base. Right. I think now coming to I think because we are all faculties working in colleges, right? So if any colleague comes to us and asks why I have to do research, then what will be our answer? Why suppose a junior colleague came to us to professor, why professor I have to be PhD? So do you think I cannot stay here, I can't sustain in this field without PhD? So that is one question. And the colleague who completed research, already they got PhD, then after that, no, already I got doctor and I got PhD. So why I need to do research? Any ideas that you had, or any, because you are all experienced colleagues. So any answers for these two questions if some of junior colleagues come to us and ask?
യൂറിൻ മിക്സ് ചെയ്യുന്നു നീ എങ്ങനെ കണ്ടു
Senior colleagues like who had that experience, why I have to do research? I want to be a teacher, so why I have to do, even after PhD, why I have to do research? The regular answer is same, right? If you continue publications in Scopus, so and so publications in every year, then you will get increments, you will get promotions, your APA score goes. This is the regular, these are the regular points we made. Otherwise, is there anything that we can add? Why I have to do research? Any?
Sir, we must be updated to the current problem to regular research.
Thank you. So already PhD is over. One junior colleague joined with PhD from prestigious institute. Then he stopped doing it. So if you are HOD or someone senior professor asks why you are not doing? You came from prestigious university, you had patents, etc. So if you questions like why I have to do research now? Do you want me to do research? Keeping the regular points aside, so is there any way that we can convince like why you have to continue the research? Any
new
thoughts?
Innovation?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Professor. New innovation, yeah.
For examples,
Yes.
in medical science, we are generally using the going to doctor or hospitals. Nowadays,
Yes.
without not going to hospitals or any doctors, from your homes, you can check your all these parameters. This is a new concept, means new innovation things. Just for knowledge share.
Yes. Yes, rightly pointed, Professor.
హలో
Yes, Professor.
ఫార్మాట్ అంటూ ఏం లేదు, మీరు చూస్ చేసుకొని సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని చేసుకోవాలంటే.
I think.
ఏం
Now, I think why we have to do research. Suppose two cases we'll take. One, particularly this is a regular doubt we'll get as a faculty members, right? I quote and unquote one of the experiences that I had with my colleague. So when I completed my PhD, then immediately we'll be celebrating, right? I gave some kind of gathering for all the colleagues in the college. So then everybody congratulates. Will be in flying colors, right? We'll feel like we won everything. We climbed the Everest also. Then one colleague from physics department, he think he worked with the Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics. He wrote books at Nobel laureates. Then he said, see, this is not an occasion where you can celebrate. Then I was shocked. What is this? I think I thought he's some kind of different professor. He said this is not the occasion to celebrate, because every donkey will do PhD. What is there in it, right? So whatever you are going to do from now onwards, that is research. So that created another inspiration to whatever you have done. This is you have done with the help of your supervisor and with a goal, that is getting a PhD degree, right? So that is over. So now if you want to prove that I am having research attitude, research approach, or if you want to justify the degree that you had, then your journey starts from today. Whatever you are going to do from now onwards in all the fronts is going to prove or disprove or validate or invalidate your PhD degree. I think it was an eye opener. So what he mentioned is, now generally I observed him because he is a senior professor. He mentioned generally after getting PhD will become passive researchers. Passive researchers in the sense, he said, you won't try to update your knowledge, at least particularly in your research domain. And you are going to repeat the same things again and again in the class. So whatever is there in the textbook, you are going to repeat, where your students are far better than you, because nowadays there is no categorization, that is whatever the books, literature, material available to a teacher is available to students as well. Earlier days, students, when we enter class, students used to see us like a treasure of knowledge, right? Whatever we say, they have to believe, they used to believe, because the knowledge or the information that is available to us is not available to students. That's why we use it to dominate the scenario, right? So nowadays, so whatever the resources available to you is equally available to your student, right? So then how to make your mark or impact in the class, right? That is the question that he asked. Because he can listen to lectures by IIT professors, even we can listen to lectures from IIT professor, not only IIT Stanford, even we can listen to the lectures by the Stanford lectures or the Nobel laureates, right? So then how you can make your mark during the class or during the presentations? That is where he mentioned, right? So you have to spend more time in this, you have to spend more time to enhance your knowledge. That is, you have to research it. Then only you can make a mark during your lecture delivery in the class, right? You have to show that, so this is something extra knowledge or extra information that I am having. So that is possible if you continue that same approach even after getting PhD degree, right? So that is one eye opener for me. That I use it to quote to many of the colleagues as well. So now, so what is what are the components? There are many components. So when we say good research, so it is systematic, if it is a logical, if it is empirical, and it is replicable, or it can be. So now what is research, right? Why research is, I think, what we discussed. Now what is research? So the same definition, what is research? It is almost like a definition of research. The systematic investigation into and study of material sources, where we'll try to establish some new observations or new conclusions, right? So here, as a part of this, we'll try to establish some new observations, or we collate old observations, and based on old observations, we come out with some new proposals as well as, right? So where we had a systematic and scientific study of the subject or topic which we are mastering, right? So research is what we do when we have a question or a problem we want to resolve it, right? So whenever we face a question, right, whenever we had a doubt to solve, then immediately what we'll refer it. So we'll dig into it, right? So that is what is termed as research as well. And we may already think we know the answer to our question already, and we may think the answer is obvious, common sense even. But until we have subjected our problem to rigorous scientific scrutiny, our knowledge remains. This is an important thing, right? So even though we had some kind of knowledge related to that, but if we won't put it in under scientific scrutiny, validation, right, where it will try to validate the observation or guesswork what we are having, or the intuition what we are having. It's like example, I had a belief, I guess based on my observation, based on my time that I spent with the prime numbers, right? So initial belief is prime numbers are not that different like what people are thinking. That is my belief or intuition or my guess, right? So then I have to validate my guess. I have to prove my intuition as right. Then I have to go through various approaches, and I have to get it scrutinized by scientific community. Scientific community accepts it. Then it becomes a research outcome, right? So all the entire process is what we termed as research. So what is a research? So what are the steps involved in it? So first priority is to formulate your question. So this is important step, right? So formulate your question. So how to formulate this question, right? So first of all, we have to have this question, right? One is based on our expertise, based on observation. So we'll get, just as mentioned, Einstein theory of relativity is the wrong, is my intuition. Right? So this is my research proposal, I can say. Right? So then what we have to do is first we have to formulate my question, right? Then I have to figure out how I am going. At least I need to have some kind of approach, at least some understanding, which says that how I am going to answer this question which I propose or which I mentioned. And before that, we have to see, right? It's not like whatever the idea that I am getting, simply I cannot put it before scientific community for validation, right? So where we have to go through it. So what are the things happened earlier in this domain, right? How others have answered. So what are the proposals came in the past, where they try to prove Einstein's theory of relativity is wrong. In such cases, what happened? Right? So otherwise, this is going to make any difference, right? So I formulate my question. Then I have to see how earlier people try to interpret or how people try to understand the theory of relativity. Right? So that is very important. So this step helps us to understand or validate our proposal or question. So based on this, we can go back and revise the proposal or the question what we formulated. And next, how does this proposal what we had fits into what others have done, right? This is the first question we'll encounter when we propose something new. Right? Suppose if I say the Einstein theory of relativity is wrong, the first question comes is, so they will ask her how you do it, how can you say it? Then we need to be able to quote some of the instances happened earlier, right? And also this, like what mentioned here. So how will you know when you have answered it, right? So then we can, so if we figure out all these things, then we start moving towards solving the question and trying to put the answer before the scientific community. Right? So this entire thought process is what we mention or call as research. Right? Some thought process what we get, that is the first step. Then immediately we won't jump into the solution part or conclusion part. So where this is the important step as a part of research. Right? So where we have to see what are the proposals happened for every proposal happened related to the question that I am putting here. Right? So what are the discussions happened? What are the conclusions took place? So all these things we have to go through it. Right? So then this gives a lead for us, like it gives a roadmap for us where we can try to start the journey towards solving the question that we formulated at the beginning as a part of this. Right? So this is the thought process, what we call as research. It need not be something related to research or PhD degree, anything. So any observation we had, right? If you think differently, then we have to follow this process, right? So I think why is answered, what is research is answered. Right? So now before getting into the next point, so any points from the colleagues to add? So why research and what is research? Based on your research expertise or based on your observation? Any points from the colleagues who are experienced as a teachers or as well as researchers? So these two are important terms. I think again repeatedly this is asked. So questioning like why and what as a part of this thought process is what is missing, because of which if you see the way that we are doing, particularly we means the Indians are doing in various sectors. Take any sector, right? So maybe it is IT sector or it may be automobile industry or any sector if you take, maybe bearing pharmaceutical sector. In most of the cases, we are ending up as a service providers, right? Service providers, right? So where I think we are not, maybe nowadays now we are looking towards the startup culture where even our Indians are trying to do something differently in the context of coming out with innovative ideas, innovative products, right? So otherwise, this is where we are missing, right? Why and what? So we are not allowing the community to have the thought process like this. Right? So if they had a thought process, when they will at least some percentage of young generation will get into research. Research, it doesn't mean, as I have been mentioning, it's not PhDs. Then it goes to patents or it goes to product development, right? So it can go to some product development. Right? So product development is the important thing I think we need to have, because India is still termed as a more prone towards service sector. Right? Means if the younger generation, the students are able to have this kind of approach, that is, right, questioning everything, right? Why and what, right? So thinking differently and converting that into a new idea, then validation, right? So validation, then putting this into a product, right? So this is nothing but again a research approach, right? So that is actually when we address our students or younger generation. So apart from the regular approach, what we talk about in terms of research, we need to have this emphasis, right? Where I think a lot of echo is coming. Yeah, thank you. So this is what like research orientation, not like it is going for PhD. So they need to have some kind of thought process which is research oriented, where they need to dig into the existing system, challenging it, right? Validation of it, right? Modification of it, as mentioned by one of our colleagues, right? So doing already system is in place, now doing it differently. So that kind of approach, I think, is what is required for us now, as means for teachers as well as for us, and also for the young generations, that is students. Right? So now, so once we had clarity in terms of why research and what is research, right? So then a first step, as discussed, is the formulation of the question, right? Formulation of the question, formulation of the idea, right? Right? What is the problem statement that you are proposing, right? That means here in the simple sense, as discussed, I'm going to propose something new apart from the prime number system, which is catering the needs of securities system, right? So that is my proposal. I am going to propose some new concept, new idea, which is better than the existing system where prime number systems, prime numbers and its properties are used, right? So that is the first approach. Now I had clarity. I am going to challenge the prime number system or theory of relativity, right? So before starting, so always the quality of research, the outcome of the research depends on this literature review is, right? So literature review is as discussed earlier. So we have to go through the work done by the people earlier in this similar kind of domain with similar kind of approach. So we have to go through it, right? So that's why most of us might have spent 6 months to 1 year in this itself. So there, I think most of us used to hate our professor, right? So the others, they will every 1 month or 2 months, they used to come and say that I got a publication in this Scopus Index Journal, elsewhere kind of thing. But our admission is already over by 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. Still, we'll be searching somewhere, right? So at that time, we are not clear. We are not sure of the importance of literature review, right? Because others are progressing like anything. They are coming out with research publications as well. Right? So the literature review is equally important. So the amount of time and seriousness that we put in literature review is going to help us in having quality research, quality output, and also clarity in what we are doing, right? So what is this as a part of literature review or literature survey, what we have to do it? So it is very important. So the more literature survey, more clear cuts literature review if you do, then we are going to get more clarity related to the work that we are proposing or the challenges that we are proposing. So here surveys, scholarly articles, books, other sources. So many kinds of many resources we have to go through as a part of literature review. That is articles, books, conference proceedings, dissertations, anything. And where then immediately the question asks comes. Even we might have faced it when our supervisor says that you have to go through these books, that publications, etc., etc. Right? We'll be scared of it actually. Right? So here we are need not go through the all the articles, all the books that are mentioned. Right? So only as a part of literature review, what we have to do is we have to go through the gist of the publication, what we are going through, right? And for right. So what is that they tried to prove in this, and what is the approach they followed, and what are the conclusions they draw. So we need not go through the entire book or article or dissertation or anything, right? Just we'll try to summarize it, because then we'll get some kind of clarity. Okay, this guy proposed this thing. This is the proposal, and for this, these are the approaches he applied, and where this is the conclusion he has drawn. Right? So, like by doing this, then we'll be moving towards our research journey, right? So it gives more and more clarity regarding the formulation of the problem which we are going to propose. So that is a very important step as a part of research. So why we have to do literature review or surveys? So based on it, we can start reviewing the paper, and this literature survey, as mentioned in the previous discussion, it helps us to have clarity regarding the proposal that we are going to have as a part of the research or the thought process. And sometimes the research, the literature review will try to prove that the way that we are going to propose is not right, because already somebody else tried earlier where they couldn't succeed it. Right? And here, this is the literature survey for a review paper or the this. Apart from the problem formulation, it helps us for us in writing the research paper as master thesis or dissertation. And also, suppose sometimes I know I am very good in one area, but I am not sure of any challenging scenario or anything that I want to validate, any idea I'm not getting, but I'm very good in suppose network security kind of domain or applications, but I'm not sure of what is that I can propose, right? So now if we go for literature survey related to that particular area, so by going through various books, papers, publications, etc., then if you closely observe the proposals, what they have done, what are their observations, so then it may trigger a new idea. Right? It may trigger a new idea. It may give some new idea where we can start looking towards, or we can start our research. Right? So because in the complete discussion I've been mentioning, like we'll try to trigger something new, we'll try to identify something new, right? But it need not be always right. We are clueless at the beginning. I'm good at one domain, I'm good at pharmaceutical research, or I'm good at network security, I'm good at machine learning kind of thing. But I'm not sure of where to begin, what to do. So if we spend good amount of time in reviewing the papers, going through the papers, may help, where it may trigger a new ideas where we can take it further, right, and do research on it. Right? And it helps us to have research proposal as well. And this helps us even to understand whatever the proposal that we are having, whatever the thought process idea that we are having, is it relevant? Is it needed? Right? Is there any need for the proposal what we are putting? Right? So that also, if we go through it, then we may get a clarity on it. So right, is it a good idea to proceed further or not? Right? Right? So even if a similar research is published, then researchers might suggest a need for similar studies or replication of this in a different context. Already somebody might have done similar kind of research, similar kind of survey, similar kind of proposals. Right? So then we can extend this to various domains, right? Various applications, right? Even if suppose if we are not having any idea at the beginning, by going through the literature, so it triggers. So the same application, same idea, why can't I take it for some other applications? Right? So that I think nowadays it is happening in terms of these analytics. Right? To take the various algorithms, what people are talking. Right? So now I am good in, suppose I am good in communication systems. I am good in signals and systems kind of stuff, but I'm not aware of the machine learning or artificial intelligence kind of approaches. Right? So then once we start referring various publications, books, then it may trigger, why can't I apply this classification algorithm into communication systems? Right? So that's why this is very important. I have been telling, right? So literature review is extensive literature review or literature surveys, very, very useful or very, very helpful. Right? It may trigger new ideas. And it helps us to narrow down a problem, right? So narrow down a problem is, suppose if we started with a problem which is of higher dimension, it's a larger version of this, right? If you go through the literature, then you will find, so this is not the way that I can solve this problem. Right? This is not the way that I can solve this problem. So where I can convert this into various modules, right? Or instead of solving this problem as a whole, I'll start looking towards this problem as a smaller version. Right? So that is another important thing we'll get. So for this, I'll give one example. Suppose if we take biomechanics. So if research in terms of biomechanics, if we take. So biomechanics, where we'll try to apply the known principles in terms of the blood flow. So why I'm taking this example is this is my area of research. So now we'll go through all the continuity equations, energy equation, Navier-Stokes equations, all the things we'll study, and even mechanical guys will study, even chemical guys will study, civil engineering guys will study, right? So different contexts they will study. So where laminar flows, turbulent flows like this, they will study. Now the similar concept, because blood is also something which is having fluid properties, right? Fluid properties. And then the idea is, suppose I am starting the research, I am trying to apply some of the known principles to understand blood flow. Where again here, whether it is a blood flow or whatever the guy is doing in civil engineering, chemical engineering, the same set of equations. It is continuity equation, energy equation, Navier-Stokes equation. These are all used. So, but here, if we take the blood flow that happens in human body, so where it is highly complex, it is having all the complexities that we encounter differently when we go through the fluid mechanics concept. So suppose if I consider all these things at a time, so it is highly difficult to model this blood flow scenario, where it is highly difficult to solve it, right? Because this is generally civil engineering application. They will talk about flow like in a pipe kind of thing, right? Where it is a pipe where walls are rigid, but if you take the blood flow, they are not rigid, they are elastic in nature, they are curvy nature. And here, whenever blood flows, the mass as well as heat transfer both happens. Right? When blood flows, if because of some situation, there may be a clot here. Right? So, and nature of blood also varies. Here in general, in engineering applications, they will in general they consider one kind of fluid. It's maybe Newtonian, non-Newtonian kind of thing. But in case of blood, it behaves differently at different instances. Now, if I had an idea related to this. I want to apply the principles of fluid mechanics, which I studied in my course, in this scenario. Then if I try to understand this by considering all the complexities involved, that is elastic in nature, curves in nature, where it behaves differently at different instances. If a clot is there, what happens? Then it becomes a complex situation. It's very difficult to model this scenario. So this we'll understand when we go through literature. When we go through literature, you can see the people studied them differently, because modeling elastic scenario is highly difficult. So let us start with the tube. Then the assumption is actual scenario is there. It is not rigid. It is elastic, but assumption is this. Then they will model it. So like this, this complete problem can be categorized or divided into various sub-problems. That is, we can narrow it down to the, this is one important help that we'll get when we go through literature. So that is, we'll get more clarity on the idea of what we had in mind related to this application. Okay. Right. So some of the points, continuation of literature review. So, so here by going through this one, some of the things what we'll add to our knowledge is, so the facts already established by various researchers and who are the active and eminent scholars who made the mark in the field, and what are the proposals that they had, and what is the thought process behind their proposal. Right? Till that time, the research is done in a different way, and some of the eminent scholars, they proposed the models in a different way. Right? So this can be understood clearly when we go through literature review. And also the parameters of the field, what are the parameters involved in it, and various theories, ideas, questions, hypotheses, procedures, process, etc., can be, we can understand. So here, to emphasize on the last point, if I take my way of my research study. So if I am working with fluid mechanics, suppose biomechanics I am working with, right? So it is nothing but finally I am going to deal with some equations, right? Some equations and boundary conditions, right? Solving equations. So solving equations, then various methods, right? So various, it may be analytical methods or numerical methods, right? So at the beginning, we may not be having complete clue, like what clue regarding what are the methods that are applicable, that are required for my study, right? So then if we go through it, then we can find what are the approaches or what are the methods to solve equations, like maybe finite difference method, finite element method, Halm method, like this. So that, because once we formulate, then we'll be clueless regarding how to solve it. Right? So the literature survey at the beginning will give some clue regarding the procedures that are established, which can be helpful for us. So in my context, it is what are the methods that I can use for solving the problems or the equations that we are encountering when we model the blood flow scenarios. Okay. Yeah. So it's the same thing, knowledge of the methodology is common to the field and a feeling for their usefulness and appropriate. So whether how far, suppose I am good in finite difference method. I'm good in finite difference method, suppose. Whether this finite difference method is going to help this system of the equations that I am getting out of the modeling. Is it appropriate? Is it useful or not? Then what else is required to solve a system of equations? Whether I need to go for a finite element method. Right? So that kind of understanding we can have. Nobody will tell this. So by going through various papers, journals, books, so we'll able to understand what is the best approach to tackle the scenario. So it can be any format. So it can be no restriction on the literature review. It can be in, so it is need not be only journals. It can be articles or books also. Right? So literature survey is not only in terms of journal articles. It is books or various reports, conference proceedings, right? Even non-journal resources. Suppose if you are proposing something related to the impact of some business MBA kind of research proposal. So impact of the contribution from organizations as a part of CSR, corporate social responsibility. Right? So every company will spend some time and amount towards corporate social CSR activities. Now we want to propose a model. We want to propose a model where this can be more effective, right? It should not be for the namesake spending as a part of CSR by various companies, right? So now we want to start that. First, we need to understand the contributions, activities taken by various organizations as a part of CSR. Right. So first, we need to understand existing process, spending, outcome related to CSR related activities of organizations. So based on this, now we want to propose something new, where we are going to propose a new model so that the corporate social responsibility spending can be more effective and useful to society. So now if this is the idea, right? So now we have to go through the literature, right? So where can I'll get the CSR related information? So we have to go through the balance sheets of various companies and go through the websites, like how much they spend and what are the activities that they are having as a part of CSR. So here, if you see in this CSR case, instead of journals, instead of books, it is the company's profiles. Right? If you go through websites of the companies, the releases from the companies, right? Whatever the press releases they had from the company. Right? So this is the information. This is the way that we have to gather the information. Then based on that, we can proceed with our proposal. Right? So that's why there is no restriction. Depends on the area, domain, and what we are proposing. Depending on that, we have to go for literature survey. So in case of CSR, journals are not going to help much. Journal helps us with various theoretical aspects related to corporate social responsibility. What theory says, but we want to study how it's happening really in this scenario. Then we have to collect so more time we have to spend on collecting the information. And nowadays, particularly after getting this the next kind of revolution in the IT sector, that is almost like Industry 4.0 kind of scenario. So now, even in organizations, companies are looking towards various data available from the government, right? So even nowadays, government websites, right? So it also helps us to get the required data. So now I think recently the government had a policy where we can find all the data, unless and until it's confidential, all the data related to government departments are available in the government websites, right? Now we can apply various, maybe nowadays the people are talking about various machine learning models or artificial intelligence techniques, right? So where we can understand many things, many insights or many inferences based on the data that is there from the government. That is maybe scheme wise spending, right? How the spend for a so and so scheme will going to impact the society in the next 10 years, like this. If we want to have any analytics kind of stuff related to the schemes introduced by the government, then we need the data from the government. Earlier, it's very difficult to get the data from the government. Nowadays, it is freely available in the website data.gov.in, where you can find all the data related to government's schemes. So unless and until it is confidential. Right. So next, a continuation of this discussion, perform a preliminary research of the literature. So again, it is a big task actually. Literature review, if you start, then lots of data, lots of information is available, right? Lots of publications. Even we might have faced a similar situation when you are doing research. So lots of information is available. Many publications are available, right? So then we should not waste time in reviewing only papers. So finding the preliminary papers which are very useful, which are very close to the idea or the proposal that we are having in mind. Right? That is one of the important things. So here, mostly the seniors, that is our supervisor or the senior researchers, those who are establish it in the respective domain, they may help us. Their articles, their papers may help us. It helps us. Instead of going through all the papers that are available, we can start focusing on the important or preliminary papers which are close to our proposal. So search literature to see what other works in the area of interest has already published. So it gives a preview of the number of articles available on the topic. There are now many websites available where it gives the gist of the research happened under various domains, right? So we need not nowadays it is one of the advantages that we had. So if you're so if nice. If your topic is already, some people might have already, we started literature survey with some proposal. Already some people tried it, right? Then we can go further and see what are the modifications that I can propose for this. Maybe because exactly whatever I am proposing is already done by someone else, already it is mentioned in the literature. So then we need not come back and close it. So we can proceed further. We can continue our literature review so that we can modify our proposal where it is not addressed anywhere else here earlier. Right? So that is the approach what we need to have when we go for. And recent journal issues in areas central to the topic may provide leads to the content that should be. So this is obviously always we should focus on the recent journals where we can find the recent additions happening in the domain what we are. But apart from this, we need to identify the base for any field. You will find some of the base papers. Right? It gives the basic research related to that domain, right? So we need to identify what are the publications or papers, topics which are basic, and anyone need to understand these basics clearly. Right? So identifying recent journals, recent research publications related to the proposal, and also the basic research happened earlier in this domain. So these two are going to help us a lot in the later stages of our research. Right? So here, how to do it? I think develop a list of subject headings. Like we can have one Excel sheet with all kinds of all the publications or literature survey that we have gone through, with some of the keywords. Some of the keywords that are useful later when we start working towards our research. So here, search across multiple databases and information. Nowadays, I think many databases are available freely or paid databases. I think nowadays it may not be a challenging task. But again, the same time here, having multiple databases, lots of information available is also a one kind of negative aspect, because more literature, more information available may lead to confusion. Right? Will end up nowhere. So we have to be very careful in terms of this aspect. The more one learns about subject, the more questions come to mind. This is what happens when we go through it one by one. If we refer the journals, peer-reviewed journals, then so we'll get more clarity as well as more questions. So which validates the thought process or the research proposal what we had. And it's very important whenever we go through a literature survey. So it's better to make a note of the important observations. Instead of keeping a file consisting of all the publications and papers, so better to choose the papers which are relevant to our work or domain or our proposal, and what are the questions that they answered in it, right? What is the problem statement? What are the questions they answered? And what is the procedure they followed? So this helps us. We need not go through the papers again and again, right? So making a gist of the literature review, whatever we have been going through. Right? So this helps us when we start our reviewing process, when we start our proposal. Right? And even when we start working, whenever we get a doubt, then these questions, well, we look back towards whatever we have gone through. So sometimes we may find answers for the questions which we'll find in our work. Right? And here, very important thing is, as we have been discussing, we have to spend lots of time in literature review. Literature review gives a broader perspective of, now we start with a domain, suppose it's a security domain, right? So we'll go through various papers, various aspects related to it, right? So with this broader understanding, now slowly we have to narrow down our thought process in the direction of our proposal. Right? So we need to have a broader understanding of the domain or related concept. Then we have to narrow it down to specific problem that we are working. Right? So start from a new material to old and general to specific. Start from general understanding, then try to move towards that means narrow down our focus to the specific thought process or proposal what we are having. Okay. And as you read and become more informed on the topic, you will probably need to go back and do more focus research. This is the same thing, right? So go through as much, spend as much time as possible in reviewing at the beginning. So now here actually a slight deviation from this topic, this heading. So this is also very important as a teacher. Right? So generally, I think at the beginning we had a discussion, right? Already I joined as a faculty, but I'm not interested to do PhD. Right? So, and my assumption or my understanding is, because I observed as a student. So faculty means the teacher, faculty means my understanding as a student is who comes and delivers whatever is there in the textbook. So the prescribed T1, T2 prescribed textbooks, reference books are there. So the faculty will come and teach whatever is available in the textbook. So now I joined as a faculty, so I am going to do this. Right? So here actually this comes into picture. Right? So this is as a faculty we need to have in and out, that is broader understanding of the topic which we are going to discuss in the class. So broader, it should not be like whatever is mentioned in the textbook, the same I will. So we need to have a broader understanding, like what are the applications of this, right? So how the research is happening, so that the delivery of lecture is going to be complete. Otherwise, students will understand that. So lecture means is lecturing or becoming a faculty. Our faculty job is very easy. So everything is available in the textbook with solutions. Just you need to understand the content in the textbook and deliver it. No, it should not be the impression. Right? So as a faculty, we need to have the more elaborate or general understanding of each and every aspect. That means we should think beyond what is mentioned in the textbook, right? And we should have this similar, we have to expect the same when we teach the topic. That is, when we introduce a topic, we have to mention, so this is the topic which is relevant to this engineering, that engineering, these are the applications. This is the research happening, right? So in this research, in the Chandrayaan kind of application, so where partial differential equations are used like this. Right? So then it creates some kind of interest, right? So actually this thought process is nothing but research, right? That means as a faculty, you may not be required to have a PhD, because I am not interested to do PhD, but you need to have that kind of approach, thought process when you plan for your lecture, right? So that is, we need to have a knowledge in general, right? That is, we have to broaden our learning. Then we can narrow down it to the requirement related to the subject, topic, class, etc. Right? So that is where we need to have. So every teacher need to have this kind of mindset, that is a research oriented thought process. Right? Generally, that is a belief what we had is, because I'm not going to do research, I'm going to teach this same topic, why I should. So if we go through thoroughly all the topics, what is happening related to this area, then so we can use this information in the class, saying that this is the topic which is having some application in this area, the research is happening in this, right? You can quote some of the good applications related to this, right? Now, for example, suppose if we are teaching graph theory in a class, we'll talk about various graph algorithms, etc., etc. Now, while doing so, we can talk about how this Swiggy works, how Google Maps works. So then we can take, these are the graph algorithms that Swiggy uses. These are the graph algorithms Google Maps uses, right? So that creates a kind of interest in this subject, right? Even some of the students may think of doing the things differently, right? So that is the point I want to mention here. So we need to, irrespective of whether we are publishing it or not, we want to do PhD or not. So we need to have a research thought process, that is, so enhancing the knowledge base, right? So we need to know the latest research happening, latest developments happening in the industry, right? So that is nothing but research approach only. Okay, right. So next steps, read the abstract. That is what I think in as a summary of the discussion what we had under literature review. Read the abstract, read the introduction, and read the approach or method what they followed in the paper, right? Just method. In my case, I mentioned, right? So okay, this is the problem. So this is the abstract, and this is the introduction. In introduction, we'll try to understand various aspects related to the topic done by other researchers. And we need not solve it, we need not go through it, just see that, okay, in this paper, they took the cancer data set. They want to classify the cancer data set where they have used only logistic regression naive-Bayes classifiers. That's it. Right? So now this gives an impression now. So why can't I go for other classifiers? Why can't I go for comparison of all these classifiers to say that for this application, this is one of the best classifiers? Okay. So like this, no need to go through it completely, just what is the approach, what is that they have done in this entire, okay. Then final observations, what is the conclusion they have done. Right? So that helps us actually take a discussion with the grain of salt. So these are the steps we need to follow when we go for literature study. Right? So again, I repeat, in literature review, so always we need to go through the latest publications, latest research happening, and also identifying some basic research papers that are relevant to our work. Right? Okay. Suppose if we are proposing some application in 2021, so better we should focus on what happened in this area in 2020-19, not 2001, 2002, right? Because lots of research is happening every year, right? So we should focus on latest publications from which we can understand the trends in the particular area or particular domain. Okay. Yeah, this is same like, so take a note of the whatever the papers we have done. The same purpose of the study, synopsis, right? What is the design or the process they applied, right? What is the final conclusion? The same as mentioned here, right? We need to maintain a gist of the every paper which we refer or which we review. Right? So some of the questions is, what do we already know in the immediate area concern? So what are the characteristics of the key concepts or the main factors or the variables? So what are the relationships between the key concepts, factors, or variables? And what are the existing theories related to this proposal? So then what are the inconsistencies, or what are the things that I am missing in this? Right? What are the shortcomings so that I can focus on learning the new things? Right? So what are the views that need to be tested? What is the evidence lacking, or what is the contradiction? What are the limitations related to the proposal that we are proposing? Right? So why to study this problem? So these are some questions we need to answer ourselves. Yeah. Okay. So same thing. So if we need to have effective literature review, so that's why we focus more on this this point. And next, the problem statement, right? So now, so we answered questions why I have to do research, what is that research I have to do. Then accordingly, we have gone through the literature survey. Then, so we have to come out with a problem statement, so which is very, very important, right? So what is the proposal that we are going to have, right? So what is that we are proposing as a part of this research, or this is something which I am proposing where it enhances the performance of the process. Right? So for this, what is that help? What is that help we'll get is, so the time spent earlier in going through literature survey, so it helps us in formulating the problem statement. So here, while formulating this problem statement, we have to be very clear. There should not be any confusions or inconsistencies in the problem statement we are proposing. Right? It should clearly mention what is the aim or the scope that of the proposal that you are submitting. Right? So this is very important. So there should not be any ambiguities. There should not be any repetitions. Right? So we have to spend more time on formulating the problem statement, because once we had clarity related to problem statement, then the next steps becomes very easy for us. Right? So then we can, once problem statement is clear, then we'll understand what are the steps we need to have to answer this problem statement. Right? That means nothing but we divide this into various modules. Right? So then we can have timelines for every module and sequence of modules. Right? So once we had clarity related to the problem statements and what are the requirements related to the problem statements, then we can divide them into modules and we can formulate sequence of modules, and also we can put some time limits for ourselves. So otherwise it becomes a never-ending process. So we have to work with some timelines. Okay. So for this, maybe it is a problem formulation. If I take my research, right? So once I am clear about the proposal, what is the problem that I am going to solve, then first I'll spend, my important thing for me is, so what is the physical model of the problem that I am proposing? Right? So this is very important. Right? So whether the physical model I am proposing is addressing the problem that I am proposing, right? Is there any inconsistencies between this? So I'll put here 1 month or 2 months here. So once this physical model is ready, then I'll try to convert this into terms of some equations, right? What are the relevant equations, boundary conditions, etc., etc. So then what is the time limit required? Here in this, then based on the experience we had in terms of literature survey, and after seeing the equations, types of equations, types of boundary conditions, we'll have some clarity on the methods that can be used to solve equations, right? Where is it analytical methods or numerical methods? In case of non-linearity, how to do it, right? So that kind of understanding, that is, we have to divide every module into submodules and how much time. Suppose if here, if I require a HAM method, which is new for me, so then how much time I have to spend, right? So that's why this entire thing depends on the clarity of the problem statement that we are proposing, right? So we should be very clear in terms of the problem statement or research proposal or this synopsis, whatever we propose with the title, right? So I think maybe 3 minutes left. I think so. This is actually the agenda of today's talk. Where so why research, what is research, and literature review. So what are the steps involved in it? What is the importance of literature review, and the problem statement. So I think now we had 3 minutes as per the agenda. If any addition to the discussion, then it is very good to have. Based on your experience, based on your any doubts that you had, we can discuss.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Sir, if there is a no literature, if I conducting a research, that topic is very, there is a no research work, then how can we literature review about that topic?
No literature review. I think there will be something which is base for your research, right? I think unless and until it is entirely new. I think if you are able to give some example, then I'll try to.
Sir, for example, I am exploring the space, space management.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Space management already, I think, suppose if it is a technical, okay, if it is something related to managerial aspects, right? Now, if we go through the work done by the ISRO or NASA earlier, particularly if you are looking towards only managerial aspects, right? Then we had data available with them, right? So the time frame and the cost, suppose if you are focusing on cost analysis, how to reduce the cost, right? It may not be available publicly, but it is there with the ISRO or NASA kind of thing. So where we have to take permissions from them. So we have to take proper permissions. I think they will provide the required literature, I think. Generally, my assumption is unless it is something completely different, everything is based on some basic concept, right? So on which already some work is done or some work is carrying out regularly. Is it okay, Professor? Or otherwise, it is whatever you are proposing is something new. I think so. You are the faculty, you are the researcher who is going to establish something which is a base for this domain or base for this thought process. So you will get that due credit actually. And here in this case, you have to propose and you have to validate your proposal, right? Again, by using existing principles somewhere else. Is it okay, Professor? So any other?
Sir?
Yes, Professor.
Good morning, sir. This is Vasanthi from Department of English.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Shall I continue, sir?
Yes, madam, please.
Sir, my doubt is, I have submitted my thesis very recently, not very recently, 2 months back.
Okay.
Waiting for my Viva essay. Actually, I have chosen the author of 20th century and the secondary sources available were very limited. Will I face any problem due to this during my Viva?
No, madam. Generally, they will be asked like whether your research is based on primary or secondary data.
Primary sources, completely based on primary sources, and whatever secondary sources available, I have used that for my research. So
no issues. And there won't be any issues because the experts, they are aware of this constraints what you had, right? You are not having extensive resources available as a secondary, right? Secondary data, whatever it is. Yeah. It won't
And
be.
my major doubt is, what is the use of filling the works cited places? So do we have to fill the works cited places more than what we research? Is it so?
Can you, madam? I missed some words in between.
Actually, what is the use of filling the works cited pages? Works cited pages. The thing is, since the secondary sources are less, I find very difficult to fill my works cited pages. So I was questioned a lot for that. So what is the use of filling that pages? So if it is, if there is no secondary sources, I cannot do that. So whatever is available, I have done it. So what is the importance of filling that works cited pages?
Not that much important as it is, madam. Maybe they thought of asking for this. Some people, they are more focused on the kind of data that you gathered. Otherwise,
is it play any major role in
No.
designing the research? No, sir.
No.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So any other? So otherwise, I think we'll close this session. Yes. If any question, then we'll continue. Otherwise, we'll end this session. So I hope this might have helped some of you. So already you are into research. I think you know most of the things. Those who are about to start research, they are those who are having any confusions related to research. Maybe I thought I'll try to address some of the queries. Generally, I'll face also. I hope it might have helped some of you who spent 2 hours of time in this session. Professor, shall we end this session?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I thank
you.
1 minute, sir. I thank all the colleagues who spent 2 hours, and also I thank the management, the leadership of BNM Institute of Management, and the Department of Information Science and Engineering. I thank HOD Madam and the convener of this FDP for giving an opportunity. I think this is a I can say it's a new kind of sharing thoughts. Earlier, whenever I had such kinds of talks, it is more towards research, whatever I have done, whatever I am doing. So maybe fluid mechanics or machine learning kind of stuff I used to discuss. So this is an entirely new kind of sharing thoughts with all the respected professors and colleagues. Thank you for giving this opportunity to interact. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable information regarding the research. So you have shared so many research interests like why, what, how to do the literature review and how to conclude with the problem statement. So thanks for your input, sir. Dear participants, now you can join for the inaugural session of Atal FTP. And we will resume back by 11:30. Dear participants, now we will resume for the inaugural session. Okay, the link is shared in the WhatsApp. So please join to the inaugural session of Atal FTP. We'll resume back to the session 2 by Dr. Ashok Matani sir. So at 11:30. Thank you.